All right, here we go. It is a Friday afternoon, which is nice because everyone's in a good mood here. All right. And I am lucky to be hanging out with Will Reeves, the man. Okay. The man, okay, behind Fold. He's a new dad. And basically, if you've been living under a rock, you've never heard of Fold. But if you are a Bitcoiner and pay attention to anything, you know that they are one of the most beloved companies in the space with a really cool, super fun, addictive app. We had a lot of complicated people on this channel recently. We did Cloaked Wireless. We did all these other type of digital markets and liquid and all these things. But this is a fun, easy company. You just spend and you spin the wheel and you can buy all sorts of freaking fun little gift cards. And now they're selling Bitcoin in the app and the world is their oyster. Okay. And I'm lucky enough to be hanging out with Will today. Will, how are you and where are you and all that good stuff?
Mike, the luck is all mine, man. I'm doing very well. It's a beautiful Friday. I think we're both going live out of some, spots that have good weather. I'm currently in the Sonoran Desert, a little bit outside of Phoenix. I know you're a little familiar with that area, and life is good.
He is a desert rat, and I am the same. I am a desert rat as well. Very cool. So, if you attended the Unconfiscatable, speaking of desert rats, conference in Las Vegas last year, Mr. Reeves was there with his rad chick. They had a good time. They were on a panel. And I guess they actually are one of the few people who enjoy going to Las Vegas for those nice long weekends. That was really cool having you. I'm not sure if we'll get you there again this year, but really cool. Okay, so why are we doing this interview? You're thinking to yourself, oh my God, nobody sent me a Fold deal. I didn't get to invest in Fold. And that's because, okay, we are just showcasing this amazing company for perhaps an opportunity in the future. I was lucky enough to invest myself personally in Fold seed round. It's awesome. I love the company, and we're going to dive into all the new stuff with Fold and what's going on here. So, Will, let's start with 0 to 1, okay, where you originally launched. Okay, it was a very basic. It was a little difficult to actually fund the wallet. There was a little bit of a process there, a little bit of a hack, but now there's all sorts of fun, cool stuff. So, give us a 2023 high level view of where Fold is at today.
Yeah, that's a good question. Full, it's been quite a journey, and you're exactly right at the top. We try to keep it simple, stupid, and part of it is to mint as many new Bitcoiners as possible. And so we kind of straddle that line between making it easy, but at the same time introducing you to things that maybe you haven't used. First, we were early with Lightning. We were early with Bitcoin rewards. All of that is to like, how do we maximize the top of funnel to get more plebs into the space? So, we started out with a rewards app. Let's make this extremely simple. Let's get to market. Let's prove out that people want to earn Bitcoin versus, junk miles, airline miles, points, what you name it. And we launched with an app. We built that in a couple months and it blew up. And that quickly led us to a conversation with some larger partners where we got together and launched the first Bitcoin rewards debit card out in the market. And that kind of was a major inflection point. We went from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of users, from earning hundreds of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin into millions. And things had to scale quick. Part of what, being an operator is making that balance of shipping the right thing at the right time and putting the right amount of, effort into each thing so that you can give it the best amount of success. And so we're always struggling with the execute, ship, and then when it hits, you work on it. And so we had a ton of things at the beginning which were difficult, but I'd say since over a year of the debit card being out, we've largely smoothed over a lot of the user experience issues, and now are looking to scale this thing. And even in a bear market, things are looking good right now.
So that's great. And it's also great that founders can actually learn from your experience because you've started and scaled Fold into a monster in the space that's continually rolling out new features. So when you decided to move to the subscription model, I mean, the first year, I think it was, I don't know if it was $99 or $150 or whatever the number was. It was that annual price, and that was cool. And now you kind of have that monthly subscription deal. Like, what are you thinking with that? And has that actually deterred a lot of people? Because it's a hurdle, right? You can still use the app, you can still fund it, and you can still have a lot of fun with it, not being sort of a premium user. But how do you feel about that now, kind of doing a post-mortem looking back on it?
Yeah, so we've part of the core, value of Fold and how we think about building this business is to build it with incentives aligned with our user base. This world is full of, hey, we're going to give you this for free, and on the back end, we're going to charge you massive spreads, or we're going to sell your data, or we are going to, charge you fees. And what Fold ultimately had chose is like, let's create a business from the ground up where our users win when we win, and let's be upfront about the value transfer back and forth. And so anyone can download Fold. They can use it for free. They can use their own card, their own credit card, buy gift cards, take advantage of offers, get Bitcoin back. Doesn't cost you a thing. You can get our debit card for free and start earning Bitcoin, a little bits at a time. And then we've decided to launch our subscription product, which is now $10 a month, 100 a year. And what that does is unlocks everything. It's zero fees. It allows you to use the card internationally. It allows you to buy Bitcoin for zero fees. It gives you more rewards. It gives you boosted offers on all of our gift cards. And what we're saying is we're going to not profit on you in any way besides this very transparent fee. And for a user to be able to have that option from using a free product to using a subscription, especially in the Bitcoin world, it's allowed us to grow a significant base. So we have tens of thousands of people who are subscribers to our annual subscription, and we have tens of thousands of others, just people using the card for free, in addition to hundreds of thousands just earning with Bitcoin. And so we look at it as just a funnel. And for us, it's about transparency, aligning incentives. Hey, if you want to use this, and we're gonna shoulder all the fees on your behalf, subscribe. If you're going to use the free card, we're going to have to pass along a few things there. You might not earn as much rewards. But again, it's just about building a model that's transparent and aligned with the success of both Fold and our user base, which I think is just very different when you look at, all kind of other options in fintech and even in some other companies in the Bitcoin space.
So just looking at this is actually the first time I noticed this. That's no ATM fees. Okay.
Correct.
That's anywhere. That's the bodega on the corner, or that's at the Chase. That's anything. You refund that whole model.
Everything. So no ATM fees, no international fees, no fees on Bitcoin buying. You get the maximum gift card back. So we're not earning anything on you. It's essentially you're just making the choice of, hey, I use this card for everything. So $10 is nothing compared to all of the value I'm going to get. So again, it's just like, how do we make this transparent and aligned in a way that allows our really hardcore users, which is a ton of, to just make that call themselves. And if you're not there yet, you just want to try it out, just download the app. You can use it for free. And so the subscription is really just for our kind of power users to take it to the next level.
Well, what's interesting is if you have like a Fidelity account, they have the ATM freeze. I always keep like $100 in there just because if you're in a pinch, right? Why am I paying these crazy fees? Like that alone could justify largely the $10 a month, or at least half of it. If you're an irresponsible person who just grabs $20 from everywhere and aren't really looking at your statements, you're probably paying $10 in fees at the end of the month if you're out consistently getting cash. So that's a huge reward right there. And then I also wanted to chat about the instant funding. We have a few payments companies and a few people who are alongside you, not direct competitors, because your business is not selling gift cards, right? Will explained this to me a few years ago at a conference. The big goal with Fold is to not be the biggest gift card retailer, okay? It's all of the other financial products that they're getting into and that are coming down the line, okay? But how do you do the instant funding and like deal with sort of the chargebacks and fraud with a lot of what might happen with people pulling out their credit card? I mean, is there, is that a science that took a long time to kind of dial in? Because this is a major struggle. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about moving fiat money over traditional rails in any way, it's an absolute nightmare. Uh, it's expensive. It's extremely risky. It's slow. It's the worst of all user experiences. And so, anytime anyone says anything like free money movement or instant money movement when they're talking about fiat traditional rails, people are assuming a massive amount of risk or just subsidizing it on their behalf and just eating the cost. And so when you think across everybody, you're able to load your Cash App card for free instantly. Cash App's taken a you know a significant fee just to handle you putting money in the door. um, and so when anyone says instant or free, and it's coming with a lot of trade-offs that you as a user just do not see on the surface, but underneath the company's either assuming a ton of risk and also subsidized very expensive as well. And so it's not easy. Um, and we have been able to work on it for a while, so much so that as a fintech company, one of your core competencies to succeed, and this is actually true within Bitcoin fintech and in fintech largely, is that the only way to win is you beat fraud and you manage fraud successfully. And so Fold has been able to limit our chargeback rate to like a 99.99% success. We have extremely low chargeback rates and fraud exposure. Uh, but it wasn't something we learned overnight. It was something we had to like develop over years of providing this product. And ultimately, at this point, we're able to offer something like an instant transfer. And you'll see this year, we're going to have more ways of instant transferring ACH and other fiat and traditional rails. But also, I think the big one that's relevant to this podcast is also the absolute best form of money movement via Lightning. Zero chargeback, near zero fees, and final settlement for Fold, which is the absolute dream.
I also just want to give you a comment. I'm sure you've heard it 100 times. Ever since the very beginning, ever since the first time Fold came on my radar, they just have such good marketing. I mean, every little bit of what Fold does here, I mean, on their website, I mean, have fun getting rich, just the plays on all those sayings, these graphics. I mean, it looks so slick and beautiful. And the app has always worked and been slick and beautiful too. So kudos to whoever over there is doing this stuff.
I will give a big shout out. I think we have obviously one of the things that we've invested in is amazing design and designers and engineers. And so I will pass that along to Rachel, Tom, Casey, the whole team who's really invested there. But that's you think about building a company in the Bitcoin space and all of this, that both the space generally is nascent, the market is nascent, but also the underlying technology stack is nascent as well. We think about a startup needs to be extremely focused on really moving the dial on like one or two things. And if you start doing everything, hey, we're going to provide the infrastructure, we're going to be the end consumer, we're going to, really hit the design and marketing. You're trying to do all that, you're not going to get off the launch pad. And even if you do, it's going to be hard for you to really move the dial on any one of those. And so for Fold, it came to a point where we had to really focus on exactly what's going to be our core competency. And that is bringing an incredible user experience that is both rewarding and valuable and fun to Bitcoin and to Lightning in general. And so we've invested heavily there. But that's also meant that we have chosen not to invest in things that we may have done in the past and waited for other Bitcoin companies to kind of come up, build infrastructure that then we can use so that we're using the core competency that they're bringing to market while we can focus on ours. And that's an issue for all startup founders and startups to face, but for Bitcoin specifically.
All right. So let's get to this next one here. So you were early with Lightning. for purchasing gift cards, which a lot of times I wanted to get those max rewards. So I
Yep.
was willing to part with those sats and then rebuy them, which now you can do directly in the Fold app, which is incredibly convenient to just buy them back right there, or buy 2x back if you want. But so that was Lightning in terms of purchasing. But even still to this day, the Lightning withdrawals hasn't been rolled out yet. So how is it that you were able to accept Lightning for purchases and handle that on the front end, but the withdrawals is something that's taken a little bit longer to roll out?
Yeah, this is really a function of what we were talking about earlier about focus. We have a very small team relative to our user base. I'd say pound for pound per user, Fold has the highest ratio from Fold team to how many users that essentially team member is representing. Um, and that's partly is because we like to be extremely focused. And we were on the cusp. We were playing a lot with Lightning. We were one of the first to offer like any kind of commercial service on top of it. We did Lightning Pizza. We did buy gift cards with Lightning, and we got to learn a lot on how to build the infrastructure, but also how to provide the service from a user experience perspective. And we got a lot of learnings, but one of the biggest learnings we had is that uh, being a Lightning provider at that time meant had to build homegrown yourself, the entire infrastructure stack. You had to manage all the accounting yourself. You had to manage the end user experience. And not only that, you had to constantly be updating and building and maintaining and improving because the underlying protocol was also in that same level of flux. And so we decided just to narrow, let's handle the end user experience. We're going to wait for the infrastructure plays to kind of get more mature, which I'd say 2023 is going to be the hallmark of Lightning infrastructure companies coming to market with new use cases that get to be built on top of it. And so what we decided, let's focus on that front end user experience, and let's have a holistic approach to Lightning. Let's not just throw it at the wall just because we want Lightning withdrawals. That's not a valuable thing for us or our users, because we want to build, when we build Lightning, we want to be kind of blanket the entire experience, not just withdrawals, but deposits into Fold, sending sats after you buy sats with us. All of that requires really thinking about Lightning from a holistic perspective and not just an individual, let's just pump out a feature just to get there and say we have Lightning withdrawals. Because, for overall, on chain right now, without having, the congestion we cover all the fees, is not a hard user experience for our users. But I'd say 2023 is going to be exciting because that holistic Fold Lightning strategy is going to start rolling out, which is encompassing of the entire experience. And so I'd say that's both the function of us being hyper focused on what we feel we do best, at the same time of the Lightning ecosystem maturing to a state where we can come together and partner to create really special things, as opposed to trying to do it all and create something mediocre.
He teased out a lot of stuff there. I hope everyone was paying attention. And, I've never seen a Fold roadmap. Okay. That's highly top secret. But I mean, my God, the amount of things that you could add here, right? Why would Fold not eventually be the go-to wallet, right? For paying small Lightning invoices on the go or settling up with somebody? Like think about how easy it is from the guy who can't build anything, how easy it is to take that captive audience that already loves your product and then just add that feature, right? To continually roll those things out. See, he's very focused and dedicated. He doesn't want to do all these things, but I know he's got some kind of doc somewhere with all these things listed out on it. And it's super exciting, right? Depositing via Lightning or Bitcoin. Okay. And being able to kind of have this hybrid model that Fold is, which is bridging the gap between the traditional payments and Bitcoin. Okay. And it happens slowly in phases, and it's super exciting. So you're doing all this fun stuff, and I'm a payments guy and I love the fintech space. This is my favorite part of the Bitcoin space to really invest in personally is this, because it's so scalable and because it's so exciting. But so in terms of regulations, okay, there are many, and this is no secret, and we don't have to get into any secrets here, but what you are doing is an incredibly tough area to navigate. Okay, whether it's banking partnerships or whether it's MTLs or state by state, all of that sort of stuff. Um, can you say like how shitty it is, or how much of a challenge it is, or like what you've done when other people, what advice would you give a young founder who might be struggling with some of this stuff? I mean, is there anything you want to say about regulation and that stuff?
Uh, there's no doubt that the payments uh, ecosystem that we operate in is Byzantine, is very confusing, is not clear, and there are so many options as well out there. So it can feel absolutely overwhelming, and you can feel lost in it at the same time. And so, uh, I could say very basic things like, hey, go read the Bible of payments in payment systems in America and the United States. Go read that. But really, what it is being plugged into the right people and getting them in your corner, because Fold specifically has benefited, not because I am an expert in payments and have been since day one. It's because we've surrounded ourselves with the right people that have helped us navigate this. Because not only does this ecosystem change constantly, but it's also gate kept by many people. Things that are open for one person are not open for the others, and it's not really clear why. And so I'd say you got to build the right people in your corner. I've personally helped advise, other startup founders who are, building things that are, quasi competitive to Fold or even directly competitive to Fold. And part of it is because I know that, building a company, especially in fintech, is not about an idea. It's not about a feature set. It's about relentless execution over a long period of time, and that's not easy. And so that's the magic you have to solve for. And so the more people that we can get involved here helping increase the user base, the better. And like to your point earlier, like you said, the outcome of like that's not a secret of what Fold ultimately is trying to do, is we want to become the largest Bitcoin wallet in the world. And how are we doing that? We're doing that via rewards, because we think that is the most scalable and easy way to onboard the next wave of people who are not just there to be speculating on Bitcoin, but there to actually be earning it. And that, in terms of a volume and numbers perspective, that user group is way bigger than those looking to just invest as an alternative to a stock. Those that want to earn it is a huge untapped market that is just starting to mature. And so with that, we're starting with rewards and then building down and down and down into the payment stack. And that's what you're seeing with our roadmap. That's what you saw, the debit card, checking accounts, now with our Lightning, and ultimately with the Bitcoin wallet eventually coming through, I think gets us there.
So, okay, just to make sure, you're live in all 50 states or most
So our
states?
rewards product is live in all 50 states. It's live in a few places internationally. It also, in terms of, we're able to operate in markets that are really hard for people who are, they're supporting only custody or buying. And so our rewards product open everywhere. Our Bitcoin buying product that we just released a couple months ago is subject to, the New York license, recent Texas interruptions, and some other states that have made it hard for exchanges to operate. And so we're working on that to make sure that we're diversifying our partners so that we can have access to every single state, because that's the way it should be. But again, that's just not the way, and it requires some finesse and some work to get there.
Yeah, and it's all about who you know in the fintech world, I guess, and the not banking relationships. Looks like you're doing pretty well though. So international, is there something you can talk about, like where else outside the US you might be trying to cast a net for users?
Yeah, so Fold historically has been available in Canada and Mexico. We've since kind of pulled that back because again, we need to be extremely focused and provide an amazing user experience, and just we didn't feel like we were doing that in those markets, so we actually kind of pulled back. Um, However, our plan and why we think rewards is great is it is very easy to scale and expand internationally quickly. Our rewards network that we have brings together thousands of retailers and their gift cards, card linked offers, promotions, our own offers that we go and create with specific brands. All of that expands internationally, and it's really just about what order, where are the places we're going to go to. Is it will help dictate that, but that allows us to start there with the rewards product, and then just as we've done here in the US, build down the payment stack.
One of the things that I want to compliment you and what you've done with Fold is you're probably the gamification OG, okay, that everyone really models after and takes a page from. I mean, just from the get-go, just opening the app, spinning the wheel every day and just really making the most out of those habitual kind of fun ways that you could maybe win 1,000,000 sats, and likely you might get 5, but it's just an excuse to really open that app every day. And no matter how much you need money, right? If you're obsessed with Bitcoin and Bitcoin rewards and every sat matters, you're opening that app, and you're thinking about every purchase. So you've really done a great job with that, man, and continue to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we do it for a couple reasons. As you said right there, there's obvious benefits to Fold. We get to be top of mind. You're thinking about Fold. You come back to Fold and open it up every single day. It's easy to share with your friends, family, and that's definitely been successful for Fold. The other bit of gamification is that we recognize Bitcoin as a social phenomenon. It's shared socially, and creating a product that is able to be a tool to magnify that social kind of virality that's already there is very important, not only for Fold's own growth, but to help other people evangelize Bitcoin. One of the easiest ways is like, hey, haven't convinced you of Austrian economics or anarcho-libertarianism, or even to deposit your whole paycheck into Bitcoin, but I've convinced you to spin this wheel and earn a little Bitcoin every day. And it's amazing to see the success that we have had from there, starting people at kind of an easiest possible way to start accumulating, and then graduate them into the other ways that they can interact and use Bitcoin. And so it's been helpful for us internally, but also to help our users expand Bitcoin, because Fold has we have a growth team that helps with a lot of this gamification within the product, but we really don't have a marketing team at all. We don't go and do paid advertising really anywhere. And that's because we really rely on integrating ourselves into Bitcoin's natural adoption cycles and adoption curves. And part of that is creating a product that is able to kind of insinuate itself into the natural spread of Bitcoin that happens really by word of mouth between person to person. So it's helpful from that perspective. And the other part, the gamification aspect has also, I think, been something that we as a team have been able to work on to break through a lot of the noise and just provide something that's just compelling and different in a way that you can kind of secretly think about it is, how do you, as a Bitcoin startup, compete against other crypto startups that may offer the same type of feature sets you do, except they have one feature that you don't. They can print their own money at any point. You have all these other cards out there, crypto cards that can essentially offer 10% back on every purchase. How are they doing that? Well, you really don't want to know, but they're essentially printing their own tokens to pay for that. So how does a Bitcoin startup even able to compete against that? And one of the things that gamification allows us to do is to tap into, I think, the thing that makes the crypto and shitcoin ecosystem work is this opportunity for infinite upside. The difference is that Fold's gamification gives you exposure to big upside, but you can never really lose from it, unlike the other ecosystems there. We're not going to rug pull you. You're not going to lose your money, but Fold gives you that opportunity to be investing in sound money, low time preference, but also have these moments of upside and excitement, which I think is important for any product that goes big and is really enjoyed, at an emotional level.
So, okay, I just want to reiterate that Fold is a Bitcoin only company. and there's no stable coins there, at least not yet. Okay, at least not now. There's no stable coins there. There's no nonsense with Fold, and let me tell you, that takes incredible restraint. Okay, and shows dedication, because the amount of pressure that somebody in Will's position would get from normie VCs to add all of this other bullshit into the app and all of these other tokens and rewards and other things and become this like crypto app. I mean, it says a lot that that hasn't happened, and that he's dedicated, and he's, he's got the laser eyes installed. So I wanted to chat with you real quick about the bill pay. Now, this is
Sure.
fairly new. It's still a little complicated. It's still a little difficult to kind of navigate it. Can you just give an overview on where the bill pay is right now? And maybe I'm the only idiot who can't figure out how to fucking use it.
No, it is. It certainly isn't straightforward because it's less of a feature that we offer and more of a hack that we expose, I would say. And so that comes with certain other frictions and more complexity there. The benefit of a debit card, there's a lot of benefits of credit cards, right? You get to spend and then you pay off your bill. Oftentimes you're getting rewards. If you pay it off in time, you're not taking any interest, so you're paying with someone else's money. That's all good. But uh, there are certain benefits that debit cards have that credit cards do not, and that's that debit cards can be used to pay off bills, including your phone bill, your water bill, electric bill, your mortgage, your car payments, all the things that credit cards cannot pay off. And so Fold is a debit card. We offer a debit card right now, which means, and not only is our debit card, you get to earn rewards on that debit card, which is also very rare for a debit card anyway. So what that means is there's opportunities for you to earn rewards, Bitcoin back, on the largest bills and payments you make on a monthly basis, including your mortgage, your rent, your vehicle payments, all of that. And the way that people do it is that most of the payment processors who process your payments for these bills will accept your debit card. And often it just takes either asking them directly or inputting it directly on their bill pay on their site. But I think what you're referring to, which has been the most popular way, is you can just add Fold to your PayPal account and begin paying out all your bills there. You just search for the bill you're trying to pay out, adding your Fold card there will draw from your Fold card, you'll earn rewards, and will be soon stacking sats on your largest purchases, which has been, in my opinion, the hack of the year. And looking at our user data has made people increase people's stacks pretty significantly.
Well, yeah, that's huge. I mean, you got $1,000 mortgage. The money's coming from somewhere.
Yep.
Um, that's huge. Okay, so you touched on a little bit, and this is actually the second to last question that I have for you, but so I personally like credit. I like the rewards. I like just carrying that balance and then figuring it out when the statements due. Okay, so then also you mentioned there are some additional protections there. So is there anything kind of, what do you do for people like that? Do you just, are you eventually going to maybe cater to something there? I mean, if they have maybe Bitcoin in the app, maybe that's kind of a great pristine collateral, and a way for you to kind of, issue them something, or is it just always going to be a debit card and you're going to build out the financial tools, and it's a Bitcoin, it's a bank, it's your banking, it's what you need with banking that also has everything that you need with Bitcoin, right? That's fine, but what do you say to like the loser like me who actually likes that credit card?
Oh, hey, we all do. I mean, credit is one of the perks of the fiat system that I think many people enjoy, and I think will enjoy for a while. Even though now we're seeing some of the highest amount of credit card debt historically we have ever seen right now. But when Fold looks at this, we like to do things. Yeah, when I think about a Bitcoin company, it's not just slapping Bitcoin onto it, not just saying, hey, we do Bitcoin rewards, but we're doing all this other stuff that's anti-Bitcoin. Like Fold tries to do it through and through in the right way. And so when I think of credit, I think of how do you use sound money to introduce sound credit? And for that, the debit card and the financial service stack that we've created is a wonderful infrastructure and foundation to launch a sound credit product. That something that you said earlier, I think is a great idea, and part of the strategy is looking at, as a user, you've been earning Bitcoin with us, even with our debit card. Many people, thousands of people, have earning more than $5,000 with us in just rewards. They're buying Bitcoin with us. All of that is great collateral to offer lines of credit. So we're looking into things like microloans to allow us to push money directly to your full debit card based on a line of credit, based on the savings you have on our app. This allows us to base your credit on something that you actually deserve and we know you can pay back, but also means we don't have to have predatory interest rates attached to it. That ultimately is, what makes what drives the credit industry. So I think we have an opportunity to reimagine the way credit works by reimagining what it looks like on sound money, bringing that to sound credit. And so will Fold launch a very traditional credit card? No. But will we introduce something called sound credit and something that gets you close, and what happens when Bitcoin and credit meet? I think that's what you're going to see within Fold. Not going to put a timeline on that, but that's actively being worked on by some of people on our team.
All right. The secret lab of Fold is hard up trying to get that puppy out. Okay. So two more questions real quick and then I'll let you go. So since your first round, without getting like no numbers, nothing else, but just to kind of give any founders or anyone who's listening an idea. So you probably did a pre-seed round, maybe like friends and family or a couple of micro VCs. Did you do that before you launched the app and before you had a lot of these partnerships and banking things in place? Was it an idea and a deck that got you that first pre-seed?
No, I think, and this is one of my my advice to founders is if your first instinct is to raise on a deck, I just say let's refine your MVP. Let's pull it back. There's always something you can do that's going to take your vision, which is you've already put a ton of time in thinking about it. A deck doesn't do it justice. Let's put some numbers on the board. And so Fold was actually just a extremely basic website with I think 3 gift cards available to buy, and that is where Fold was able to get our first bit of traction. And we were able to build that very cheaply, very quickly. And the valuation pump that you're going to get off of having something out in market and real and tangible versus trying to convey that in a deck is night and day. I've seen uh, people go on a deck, and if I said, "Hey, let's refine this MVP, let's get something out there, let's come back to the investors in 2-3 months with some real numbers," they're looking at whole different reality in terms of check size, valuations, leverage, and so as a founder to founder, I often say, we're not pitching a deck, we're going to pitch some numbers.
That was huge. I hope people listened. Okay. It's important to go out there and have some numbers, put some numbers on the scoreboard before you go out with an idea and your friend in raise. Okay. So then you got that pre-seed round. Okay. You closed some funds in, you started building out that cap table with hopefully some helpful folks. Okay. And then you did a proper seed round, right? That was announced, no secret there. A lot of tier one VCs participated, big seed round. Okay. You've never raised since that round. Is that correct or incorrect? Or maybe there was a few little tranches that happened, and if you can't say, it's fine. I'm just trying to illustrate a point.
Yeah, no, we raised a seed, and that was primarily the makeup of that was basically 50% angels in the Bitcoin space or fintech overall, and that I would also include smaller Bitcoin VCs. When we were first doing that, there were much less options in terms of those who had funds that were writing checks and were Bitcoin only. And I'd say 50% of the round was kind of our angels and Bitcoin only VCs, which those funds were small at the time. And then the other half was we got some tier one VCs in there who, number one, believed in our vision, believed in our Bitcoin only vision, which was extremely rare at the time, but had been following us for a very long time. I'd been putting in the work of establishing these relationships, showing traction, showing progress much earlier. So when it came time to the actual investment in the seed, it was a much easier conversation than going cold. And that's another huge thing of advice for founders is the best checks you're going to get are ones that you've been warming for months, if not years ahead. And so I say work on the product, but also work on the people as well. So we did that seed, and then that was essentially coincided with the launch of our app, just the essential basic rewards mobile app. We had a year essentially of putting numbers on the board. Those numbers were really good, looked a lot like hockey stick. And that allowed us to then open up a Series A, which we did in end of 2020, but closed in 21, early 21. And that was with pretty much most of the existing tier one investors going in there, Craft Ventures having led that. And that was our last major official public fundraise, although there's been some moments here and there since.
So that was the seed that you're talking about. That was
That was Series A. Before then was the seed, was when we got that was like 2019 or so.
So the A round was the craft round.
The A round was the craft round, correct?
Got it. And wow, that's really great. Okay. So they're due. They're due. Let's put that out there to the universe. Okay. And he said something really great, okay, as far as cultivating relationships with VCs. Okay. These things take time. All right. And that's great advice for founders out there, is to just don't even think of it as a no. It's a no for now. Okay. Those relationships develop over time, just like Will said, right? They keep an eye on the project. Even those people who don't invest, I get them all the time. I love it when founders of companies that we didn't invest in still send me updates. They still send me updates of how they're doing, and I actually fucking read them. Okay. And I'm not even an investor. So, that's something important. It's not just like yes or no, and I'll see you later. It goes on forever. Okay.
And
go ahead.
I'd say, and from the founder's perspective, and just advice for others is like, your first interaction should never be about the outcome being a yes or a no. And that's the thing. You're giving up leverage already once you're putting yourself in a yes or no, up or down position. What you should be doing first and foremost, and what the VCs or angels that you're talking to, is just purely about building the relationship with you and letting them know what you're doing. And again, it's all about putting numbers on the board. So just have that open communication. It's not even about you going direct on give me a yes or give me a no. Just get them involved and keep putting numbers on the board. As long as you're putting numbers on the board, you're going to get a yes at some point. And if you've already developed that relationship, you're going to get a yes much sooner. You're going to get a yes on better terms. And so I'd say that first outreach, don't even set the dynamic up to get a yes or a no. Set the dynamic up to establish a person-to-person relationship, and then make it an undeniable offer by just putting numbers on the board and putting those numbers in front of people.
Do you see a lot of potential consolidation coming in this space, both internationally and within the US, between maybe smaller companies that are dabbling with some of these type of products and services that are out there? Do you see that in the future?
Yeah, I already know that's happening. You can just see in from my perspective, I'm seeing consolidations happen in the background. A lot of things aren't public, but are happening. And it's really just it's one of these, it's these perfect storm of, a lot of this stuff, especially in Bitcoin, like the hard reality is that most products being built on Bitcoin are way ahead of their time. The most tried and true actual businesses that are working today is essentially selling Bitcoin, selling hardware to store your Bitcoin or services to help store your Bitcoin or earn it. Like there's so many other products and infrastructure plays out there that are way ahead of their time. And what this does is that we know where the market's going to be. We also know that some of these things are early, and so it's going to be inevitable that people with capital who are in the space, who see the time horizon, but also see the value of some of these smaller players that are out there who are building ahead of their time, that will start to compress, start to partner, start to merge, and that's just going to be an inevitability of both the time frame we're in, but also where the capital is currently being held. Which ultimately is a great thing. That means a lot of these things that are before, maybe a little bit before their time to be massive businesses in their own right, are going to have a new life and being able to be plugged into existing ecosystems that already have user base, that already have revenue, and they're going to be a multiplying factor on the underlying product and business. But it is also the case of, we are in Bitcoin. Again, what do we always say? We are early. And that's, if when we say that, we're also often talking about people coming in to stack sats and saying you are early. Now, imagine being a business on top of stacking sats. You're very early. And a lot of these are going to be acquired, merged, come together. So we're going to see a die out that's going to happen. And that's true of any startup ecosystem, but it's especially true of something like Bitcoin and Lightning, which has huge growth potential going forward. It's just, when does that inflection point hit is going to be the big thing that allows us. And so I'm bullish that this is going to happen sooner rather than later. But at the end of the day, we are early.
Okay, we are early. Now, have you ever invested in an early stage company personally yourself?
I have not invested check. I've invested time and advising. So I do a lot of that consulting, and that's what I love. Like, for me, when I think about what the value I can give, I understand as a founder, the value of, check is good for certain things, but sometimes the real value that you're going to get is actually guidance, expertise, know-how, just helping people make decisions when it's not easy to. And I feel like that's the value I give. And so pretty much that's where I have. It also helps me conserve a little bit of my time. Um, but part of my thing is both being an operator, founder myself. My second favorite thing to do is to help other builders and founders.
I love it. And you said something very important there. I'm not sure. I don't think you've ever seen my presentation, but it's something that I talk about. And people always think about investing as money, and you have to have a lot of money and all of this stuff. And that is very important, that you can invest your time. Okay, you can invest your time to advise companies and essentially achieve the same result. Okay, last question. How does this? How does the world or this space look in, say, 10 years? And how does Fold fit in?
Uh, let's assume steady state existing adoption cycle. We're going to go through a halving, right? We're going to understand that we have a pretty good idea of how that dynamic works. Um, Bitcoin as a concept is already one of the most recognized brands in the world, even compared to a Coca-Cola. That is going to continue to solidify. The blurred boundaries between traditional finance and Bitcoin, that we have already kind of crossed the chasm. It is in PayPal, it is in Cash App, it's coming to major banks. All these boundaries are going to blur. We are going to see a critical mass of new entrants coming into this space, just because Bitcoin services are going to be more available, because they're now convert to cash, convert to Bitcoin will be an option everywhere. So what we see is a much larger addressable market in terms of users, but also far more capital coming into this space. It will be both people investing, both from Bitcoin only funds, but now Bitcoin only funds are going to be able to be more generalized and also invest in things that are going to be helping Bitcoin's adoption, even if it's not a Bitcoin company itself. It's just going to kind of blend back into the ecosystem and the mix. Now, the complicated parts are with what we're seeing today, with which we see on the ground, is there's clear, and we're clearly at the and then they fight us stage. Even with all the things that I've said about, hey, it's available in PayPal, hey, it's one of the most recognized brands. Regulation and state action is coming to neuter some of the most powerful aspects of Bitcoin. And so when we talk about Bitcoin, what does it look like in 10 years? That's remains to be said of what aspects general people get access to, what happens to pure radical self-custody, what happens to peer-to-peer transfers, what happens to global commerce from those. That remains to be seen, and right now is already coming under there's reason to believe that actions will be taken to try to limit or hinder that growth specifically. But Bitcoin as a concept, Bitcoin as being available to end consumers in some way, will 100% be here, and it's going to be at a much, much bigger scale. And so what does Fold, where does Fold look like there? Well, I go back to our underlying vision. It's to mint the next millions of Bitcoiners. It's to be at the top of the funnel, be the first introduction to Bitcoin for what I believe is the largest user segment, which is essentially spenders and savers. And so Fold will be not only growing our existing app, getting people involved in rewards, involved then in saving Bitcoin and earning Bitcoin and spending Bitcoin and sending Bitcoin, and having those boundaries really blurred between that and their traditional fiat use cases. But it also will look like of Fold starting to empower others to use this same infrastructure stack we have done, so that we can turn the millions that we could affect into the tens of millions. And we already have good reason to believe that demand and interest is there from partners out there, but also that I think the time is right.
Very cool. All right. Well, you heard it here. I have actually no idea how you're going to make money on the bill pay, because if anything, that actually costs money. So that'll be a good mystery for another time. I'll think about that maybe.
It's not, doesn't need to be a mystery. I can tell you very clearly how this all works. So, um, when someone uses a debit card or a credit card, the company that processes that payment is levied a fee, and that's what's called an interchange fee. So if I swipe my debit card at Starbucks is paying a fee for the convenience of allowing me to pay with my card, essentially. With all the bill pays options that Fold has, Fold is not the payment processor of record. So we are not actually being levied that fee. The people who are processing that payment are. So when you pay your rent by going to your rental company and adding your debit card as your full debit card as the means of payment, the rental company is subsidizing and paying for that fee, which subsidizes your reward. When you do it via PayPal, PayPal is subsidizing that fee, which then or pays that fee, which is subsidizing your reward. So Fold actually has zero exposure to any of the cost of the bill pay uh, flow that we just talked about.
Well, what do you know? Learn something every day. All right. And if you want to sign up for Fold, I'm going to put a link down below, but it's foldapp.com. Will Reeves and Fold throw the best parties for Bitcoin Miami. At least they did the last 2 years. I'm not sure what's going on this year, how big of a splash they're going to make there. I mean, he just mined his first block. With his rad chick recently. So he's got a lot going on. But if you are lucky enough to get an invite to that Fold party, you should definitely go. And as far as other travel goes, I think that's pretty much it, right? Just Miami coming up, and nothing else on your radar.
New kid here. We're keeping it light. I might show up to a couple meetups, maybe one in New York in the next month or so. Definitely going to go visit Bitcoin Park out in Nashville, but you know it's not going to be like the previous years where every other week is a new destination. That Bitcoin kind of jet set lifestyle. So I'm going to keep it a little bit closer to home for this year.
Awesome. So he's going to be at home. All right. So you won't be able to bug him too much. But BitDevs New York last Wednesday of every month, I believe. So maybe I'll see you
Yep.
there. All right, Will, thanks for hanging out with us. And I hope we get to hitch our wagon to your star in the future.
All right, Mike, it's always a pleasure. And we will definitely be seeing each other soon. And I'll let you know when any opportunity may arise. All right.
All right, you got it, buddy. Have a good one.